All right, let's jump right in. I want you to imagine something for a second. What if the world you see, your memories, what if all of it isn't, the final version? What if it's just a rough draft and there are these unseen editors out there with red pencils just constantly making changes? It's a wild and honestly a kind of terrifying idea. And it's right at the heart of the story we're going to explore today. So, get this. This is the first line of a manuscript that just shouldn't exist. It's this sentence that's somehow beautiful and also deeply creepy, right? And it's found by this super nervous literary editor, a guy named Sergei Karpov, tucked away in some forgotten archive. This isn't just the start of a book, it's the start of everything unraveling. And that really gets us to the big question here, doesn't it? What if a story could actually rewrite your reality? I mean, think about that. What if a piece of writing wasn't just describing the world, but was a tool you could use to change it, to edit the past, control the future? Yeah, this is way more than just a thought experiment. For our poor protagonist, this is about to get terrifyingly real. Okay, so let's set the scene. Meet our hero, Sergei Karpov. And, well, hero might be a strong word. He's a guy with a so-so reputation and a whole lot of anxiety. He's an editor in this world that feels very much like old-school Soviet Moscow. His whole job is to take dangerous truths and make them safe. But one day, in an archive that's not even supposed to be there, he finds something that's going to make his entire life incredibly unsafe.
So the manuscript he finds? It's completely impossible. It's dated 1938, right? But it's describing events from the 1950s and even later with perfect accuracy. It's not a prophecy, It's more like a user manual. It lays out the whole operation of the secret group, the Department of Corrections, whose entire job is to make these tiny little tweaks to the past, delete a photo here, change a record there, edit a memory, all to keep the future stable and under control.
And of course, something this huge, it doesn't stay secret for long. Karpov finds out real quick that he is not the only one who knows about this manuscript. Suddenly, these two super powerful clandestine groups creep out of the woodwork, and they both want this text. But their plans for it, totally different. But both are all about control. And just like that, Karpov is trapped right in the middle. So he's stuck between a rock and a hard place, with two awful options. On one side, you've got Victor Blank and his Ministry of Final Edits. Their plan? To publish the manuscript, not in a bookstore, but to literally edit it into reality itself. Make everyone know that reality is being revised. Make them part of it. Then you've got Dmitry Sokolov's department. They see this thing as a weapon that has to be destroyed, wiped from existence, to keep their whole system of secret control running smoothly. See the problem? Both paths lead to a manipulated world. The only question is whether the puppet strings are visible or not. This quote from Victor Blank, it just perfectly sums up how the ministry thinks. All good literature means trouble. He doesn't see the manuscript's power as something to be afraid of. No way. For him, it's a tool, something you're supposed to use. The truth inside that text isn't a problem he needs to solve. It's the new foundation for reality. And the trouble it causes? Well, that's just a necessary step on the way to a more perfectly edited world. So Karpov's journey leads him to this place called the Hotel Metropole. And this is where the rules of his world really start to come apart at the seams. It's like a space outside of normal time, outside of normal geography. It's this liminal space where the final decision about everything, the manuscript reality itself, is going to be made. And once he's inside, things get even weirder. The whole point of this hotel is to mess with his head, to break down his sense of what's real. The corridors just loop back on themselves. Room numbers change. The elevator goes to floors that don't even exist. It's this physical confusion, and it's a perfect mirror for what's going on in Karpov's mind. I mean, in a place where reality itself is falling apart, how on earth are you supposed to make a rational choice about its future? And this is it, the climax. In a room that's somehow bigger on the inside than it is on the outside, Karpov comes face to face with the ultimate choice. He's introduced to another version of himself, a more confident, more decisive, a happier man. This is the him that gets to exist if he just agrees to let the ministry publish the manuscript. They even tell him it's the version his wife prefers. The offer is just so simple. Become this better you. So which you is the real one? That's the question, isn't it? It just cuts right to the heart of his dilemma. Is the real you the anxious, uncertain person you are right now? Or is it the happy, compliant person you could be if you just let them edit you?
Suddenly, his choice isn't just about some manuscript anymore. It's about his entire identity. He can accept the revision and live a better life, or he can resist and risk being completely erased. But this is the moment. This is where our nervous little editor does something absolutely incredible. He just rejects the choice. He throws it right back in their faces. He realizes that publishing the manuscript or destroying it, they're just two different flavors of the same poison: control. So he picks a third path, an act not of surrender or destruction, but of pure, creative rebellion. What does he do? He uses his own skills as an editor against the manuscript. It's brilliant. Instead of making it clean and coherent, he does the exact opposite. He crams it full of logical paradoxes. He invents characters that never existed. He adds events that totally defy the laws of physics. He makes the manuscript so self-contradictory, so wonderfully absurd, that if anyone tried to publish it into reality, the whole universe would just tear itself apart. And this gives birth to his new philosophy, an edit he actually adds to the manuscript himself. He redefines reality. It's not something perfect and clean. No. Reality is the messy, stubborn, contradictory stuff that survives despite every attempt to control it. He doesn't fight the system by destroying its weapon. He fights it by making that weapon beautifully, chaotically, gloriously unusable. So, in the end, the sabotaged manuscript basically just burns itself out of existence. The ministry's plan is toast. But Karpov, he's changed forever. He goes back to his life, but now he can see the seams. He notices the little inconsistencies, right? The people who just vanish from memory, the tiny edits happening all around him. He's not blind anymore. He knows, for a fact, that he is living in a perpetual rough draft. So after all that, what are we supposed to take away from this wild story? Well, it leaves us with a few really powerful ideas to chew on, things that apply to our own world. First, this idea that memory isn't a perfect recording. It's a manuscript that we're all constantly rewriting. It also suggests that reality itself is just a rough draft, a work in progress that's never really finished. But maybe the most important lesson here is about resistance. It shows us that fighting back isn't always about saying no or destroying something. It can be an act of creation. In this case, creating a beautiful, protective chaos. And finally, there's this really hopeful thought. You know those little glitches in life? A moment of déjà vu, a memory that doesn't quite add up? Maybe they're not mistakes. Maybe they're proof that an original truth is still in there, fighting to be seen. And that leaves us with one final big question. The story forces us to look at our own world, our own lives, and ask, if our reality is being edited, who's holding the red pencil? Is it political powers, the media? Is it our own biases? The story might be fiction, but the question it leaves us with, that is very, very real. Who or what is editing your reality?